Welcome to LearningHubX Maths. What if I told you there are rules in maths that never change? Rules that make solving equations predictable and easy. These are called properties of algebra. They help us simplify expressions, solve equations, avoid mistakes. Today, we're going to master all of them. There are 6 properties in algebra. They are the commutative property, the associative property, the distributive property, the identity property, the zero property, the inverse property. Master these, and algebra becomes much easier. Let's start with the commutative property, the simplest one to understand. This property tells us that changing the order does not change the answer. For addition, A plus B equals B plus A. For multiplication, A times B equals B times A. Now let's look at an example. 3 plus 5 equals 8, and 5 plus 3 equals 8. Even though we swap the numbers, the answer stays the same. The same applies to multiplication. 4 times 2 equals 8, 2 times 4 equals 8. So remember, changing the order does not change the result. Okay, let's slow down. Why do we even care about changing the order? Because some numbers are easier to work with than others. For example, 7 plus 8 plus 3. If you go left to right, 7 plus 8 equals 15. 15 plus 3 equals 18. That's okay, but watch this. Rearrange it. 7 plus 3 plus 8. Now, 7 plus 3 equals 10. 10 plus 8 equals 18. Much easier, same answer, less thinking. That's the power of the commutative property. It lets you choose the easiest path. So instead of being stuck with the order, you control the order. Next, let's look at the associative property. This property tells us that changing the grouping does not change the answer. For addition, open bracket, A plus B, close bracket, plus C equals A plus, open bracket, B plus C, close bracket. For multiplication, open bracket, A times B close bracket, times C equals A times open bracket, B times C close bracket. Now let's look at an example. Open bracket, 2 plus 3, close bracket, plus 4, equals 5 plus 4, equals 9. 2 plus, open bracket, 3 plus 4, close bracket, equals 2 plus 7, equals 9. Even though we change the grouping, the answer stays the same. The same applies to multiplication. 2 times open bracket, 3 times 4 close bracket equals 2 times 12 equals 24. Open bracket 2 times 3, close bracket times 4 equals 6 times 4 equals 24. Changing the grouping does not change the result. The associative property helps us group numbers in a way that makes calculations easier. Next, let's talk about the distributive property. This property tells us that we multiply everything inside the bracket. A times open bracket, B plus C, close bracket, equals A times B plus A times C. Now let's look at an example. 3 open bracket, 2 plus 4, close bracket, equals 3 times 2 plus 3 times 4, equals 18. So remember, multiply every term inside the bracket. So, why do we need the distributive property? Because it helps us turn difficult calculations into easier ones. Let's look at an example. 7 times 19. This looks a bit annoying, but we can rewrite 19 as 20 minus 1. Now use the distributive property. 7 times 19 equals to 7 times. Open bracket, 20 minus 1. Close bracket equals 7 times 20 minus 7 times. 1 equals 140 minus 7 equals 133. Much easier than doing 7 times 19 directly. Now let's look at the identity property. This one is very simple. This property tells us that some numbers do not change anything. For addition, A plus 0 equals A. For multiplication, A times 1 equals A. Now, let's look at an example. 7 plus 0 equals 7. 5 times 1 equals 5. Adding 0 does nothing, and multiplying by 1 does nothing. So remember, These are do-nothing numbers. Next, let's look at the zero property. This property tells us that multiplying any number by 0 gives 0. A times 0 equals 0, no matter how big the number is. Multiplying by 0 always gives 0. 1,000,000 times 0 equals 0. So remember, 0 wipes everything out. Finally, let's look at the inverse property. This property tells us that a number and its opposite cancel each other out. For addition, A plus minus A equals 0. For multiplication, A times 1 divided by A equal 1, provided that A is not equal to 0. If you found this helpful, visit LearningHubX.com for more lessons just like this. We're building a full learning platform to help you master maths, English, and other subjects step by step. We're also adding more lessons, examples, and practice to support your learning journey. To summarize, there are 6 key properties in algebra. Commutative property means you can change the order of numbers when adding or multiplying. Associative property means you can change how numbers are grouped. Distributive property means you multiply a number by everything inside the bracket. Identity property means some numbers do not change the value. Zero property means multiplying by 0 always gives 0. Inverse property means a number and its opposite cancel each other out. These properties help us simplify expressions, rearrange equations, and solve problems more easily. Master these, and algebra becomes much easier. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. I'll see you in the next lesson.